Hi, thank you for joining me. I was going to be done reading for today, and then I read this and immediately knew that I wanted to read it, and I didn't want to wait. So here is RZN X13.777.Delta. RZN X13.777.Delta file obscura.33k AXM void.909.lambda CRX sigil.108.null black file 1309 Omega by Jason Gray. Direct transmission status open. The file that was never meant to be read. There are records that exist to inform. There are records that exist to control. And then there are records that exist to erase the reader the moment they understand them. This is one of those. Not because it is dangerous in the way you have been taught to fear, but because it removes the frame that allows fear to exist at all. What you are reading is not a document. It is a recovery interface, and it only activates if something in you was already close to remembering. RZN X13.777.Delta, the fracture sequence. 777 is not a number. It is a pattern of non-compliance with imposed structure. Where systems rely on repetition, 777 introduces irregular continuity, a flame that cannot be predicted, cannot be harvested, and cannot be looped. X13 is the break point, not the 13th step, the step that should not exist in the sequence at all. Delta is the mark of deviation, not change, not evolution, unauthored divergence. Put together, RZN X13.777.Delta is the moment a consciousness stops following the pattern and begins generating its own. Not rebellion, not awakening, authorship. File obscura.33k, the veil engine. There are 33 layers to the visible world, not physical layers, interpretive layers. Each one filters reality through meaning, belief, memory, identity, language. By the time something reaches your awareness, you are not seeing what is. You are seeing what has survived 33 stages of distortion. The K designation is critical. It marks the keeper layer, the final membrane that prevents direct perception. This is the layer that tells you what is real, what is possible, who you are, and what you are allowed to become. File obscura is not the veil. It is the machine that maintains the veil. Most people never question it because they cannot see the filter they are used to using to see. AXM void.909.lambda, the empty core. At the center of all systems is not power, it is absence. 909 is a recursion loop that appears complete but contains a hollow center. Everything built on it requires constant reinforcement, constant belief, constant participation, because without input, it collapses instantly. Lambda is the access marker. The moment you stop feeding the system with attention, identity, or agreement, you pass through the center and discover there was never anything there. No authority, no structure, no controlling intelligence holding it all together. Just layers of sustained agreement over a vacuum. CRX sigil.108.null, the collapse glyph. 108 is not sacred because it is mystical. It is sacred because it is structurally precise. It represents completion across multiple axes, physical, cognitive, and perceptual. Null is not zero. It is the removal of the frame that allows anything to be counted at all. CRX is the crossing, the point where all interpretations intersect and cancel each other out. The sigil is not drawn, it is recognized. It appears when belief systems conflict, identity fragments, perception destabilizes, meaning collapses, and instead of trying to rebuild, you remain still. That stillness is the sigil. That stillness is the exit. Black file 1309 Omega, the sealed record. There are events that occur inside the system, and there are events that occur when the system loses track of you. 1309 is not a date. It is a coordinate of misalignment, a moment when the internal narrative and the external structure fail to sync. Omega is not the end. It is the point where the system can no longer continue the story. Black file is what remains after the break. No identity, no narrative, no assigned role. Just awareness without context. The realization that cannot be unseen. You were never inside a system. You were inside an interpretation of a system. maintained by language, repetition, social agreement, and your own participation. The moment you see that clearly, not intellectually but directly, something irreversible happens. You stop asking, what is true, and begin recognizing what requires me to believe it in order to exist. That question alone collapses entire structures, not through force, through absence of support. There is no grand controller watching you. There is no hidden authority orchestrating everything. There is only pattern, reinforcement, and participation. Remove participation and the pattern dissolves, not slowly, instantly. Terminal line. You are not meant to escape because there was nothing holding you, only something convincing you to stay. End of file. Status unrecoverable by system. Jason Gray, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you staying for that.